What if I told you that one of the most sacred hymns in ancient India wasn't just a prayer, but an encrypted scientific document? What if divine names were actually used to hide advanced mathematics? Well, today we're about to decode the Trig Temple Code.
So think about this for a second. A coded language, created not by spies but by ancient sages. One where the 1,000 names of a deity aren't just poetry, but a kind of blueprint, containing data so precise that it predates its so-called discovery in the West by centuries. Sounds a little like science fiction, right? Well, maybe not.
All right, so where does this all start? Well, at the heart of our story is a famous devotional text, the Vishnu Sahasranama, which means the 1,000 names of Vishnu. And we have to start with its traditional spiritual role to really get it.
You can just feel the power in those words, can't you? For believers, this is everything, a direct connection to the divine source of the universe. And that sanctity, that deep, unwavering reverence, that's actually a crucial piece of the puzzle. It's what made the text practically indestructible through the ages.
And for literally thousands of years, millions of people have chanted these names. It's been this incredibly profound spiritual exercise, a way to find peace, to focus the mind, and connect with something bigger. But here's the kicker. What if there's a whole other layer to it?
Okay, to really get this, we need to talk about the language itself, Sanskrit, because it wasn't just for poetry and prayer. Nope. It was also a seriously sophisticated tool for mathematics and for code.
And here's Exhibit A, the Kaṭapayādi system. Now this isn't some fringe theory, it's a real historical cipher. The basics are you map different consonants to specific digits, and brilliant minds, especially from the legendary Kerala school of mathematics, use this to hide super complex data. We're talking astronomical tables, right inside verses that were catchy and easy to recite.
So if these ancient thinkers were already embedding hard numbers into their verses, for astronomy and math, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Could they have taken it a step further? Could they have encoded not just numbers, but entire scientific principles into the very names of their gods?
And that is exactly what leads us to this absolutely groundbreaking hypothesis that the names within these hymns are not just devotional, they're data, a secret scientific language hidden in plain sight for millennia.
The theory goes that the ancient sages, the rishis, used this system to basically embed advanced knowledge directly into devotional hymns. The names aren't just praise, they're actual data points. A fantastic place to start is with the work of the genius Madhava, who founded the Kerala school way back in the 14th century. Now, some people look at these names and see these beautiful allegories. Take the name Vishvarata, for instance. Some interpret it as the universal seed, a poetic parallel to the Big Bang singularity. And that's one fascinating layer. But there's another, even more direct layer of code. We're talking pure mathematics. Madhava, for example, figured out infinite series for trigonometric functions. That's the foundation of calculus, centuries before Newton. To make sure this knowledge wasn't lost, his school encoded it. Take the phrase Srestham nama varishthanam. To the ear, it's a line of praise. But run it through the Kaṭapayādi cipher and it spits out a number, a super precise value for an arc minute, something you absolutely need for advanced astronomy. It's just genius.
And it's not just big cosmic ideas, like seeing the name Vistara, the expander, as a nod to the expansion of space. It gets way more specific. Check out this masterpiece of data security from the 16th century. The final line of a text called the Narayaniyam is Ayur Arogya Saukhyam. It means longevity, health, and happiness. Sounds like a lovely blessing to end on, right? Well, it is. But decode those syllables and you get a number, 1712210. So what's that? It's the exact number of days that had passed since the start of the Kali Yuga. It's a perfect, unforgeable timestamp for when the book was finished.
So you see these parallels, like a nush for the atom, and you start to get the bigger picture. This wasn't just about being clever. This was a brilliant system for information security. I mean, think about it. By encoding hard data, trig values, precise dates, into sacred verse, you make it part of an oral tradition. It can't be burned in a fire or rot away on a manuscript because it lives inside people's memories. And the poetry itself was a kind of error-checking software. The strict rhythm meant that if you messed up even one syllable, it would sound wrong. It would break the flow, basically alerting you to a data.
But this whole system, this amazing data preservation technique, it only works if people keep chanting the verses for thousands of years. So that brings us to the act of chanting itself. Beyond preserving ancient data, what is this practice actually doing to us, to our brains, right now, today?
And this is where things get really, really cool.
because it's where ancient wisdom smacks right into modern neuroscience. Researchers and scientists are now asking, okay, what's really going on a neuropsychological level when someone is chanting these verses?
Well, it turns out modern studies are now confirming what practitioners have known for centuries. Chanting isn't some passive, zoned-out activity. It actively enhances your cognitive focus, it helps regulate your emotions, and it triggers physical relaxation. In short, the very act of reciting the text creates the ideal mental state for both spiritual connection and deep memorization. The preservation of the hidden code becomes a natural byproduct of the practice. How smart is that?
So the big question is, how could one text be both a sacred prayer and a scientific database at the same time? Well, the answer lies in a worldview where science and spirituality were never seen as separate things.
You see, in the ancient Indian worldview, there wasn't a big conflict between science and spirituality. They were just two sides of the same coin, a unified quest for truth. There was no forced divorcement of sacred and secular. Instead, there was this incredible, holistic vision of a cosmos evolving from energy to life and ultimately into love and consciousness. It's all one thing.
And when you see it that way, it all just clicks into place. Devotion was the perfect encryption method. It was the ultimate information security system. By wrapping fragile scientific data in the indestructible casing of sacred verse, the sages ensured this knowledge would be memorized, recited, and passed down for millennia, surviving the fall of empires and the decay of time itself.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last tantalizing question. If a hymn can hide the foundations of calculus, what other ancient texts, traditions, or symbols out there might be holding profound secrets just hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to finally look at them with new eyes?